Because initially, the first time I've actually met you in real life, it was funny, was because I invited you to do Muay Thai class. Remember that? I invited you. I invited you.
Yeah, you're right.
I invited you to a Muay Thai class.
Wow.
And then I guess I wanted you to like try it out with me or something, right? And then
They declined me.
they declined you, bro.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad.
No.
And I felt so bad because like I invited you and like you went out of your way to get there and like they just flopped on you and I was like, oh man, I felt so bad.
I still don't understand why though, because they said that it's okay, free, try the session, and they said no.
Yeah, I think it was because it was late, and no, they were saying that class was full.
Was it though?
It wasn't, and you know what? One thing that sparked me was that I actually really like the way you took that approach, because usually people would just like, oh, it's fine, no problem.
Yeah.
But then the way you approached that was like, hey, listen, like I'll stick around.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like the class is full. If nobody shows up, can I then do it? And then he said no. They said no because it was like a liability issue or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So the class for the people who actually attended wasn't full. No. I mean, there was a lot of space.
There was a lot of space.
However, apparently their booking was full, which
or
is
something.
Odd,
yeah, which is odd.
Which is odd because I didn't even book. Like you just sign a waiver and you show up, right? So how could I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, but one thing that like that whole experience was obviously sad because like I wanted to hang out with you and just like connect with you, but then it was kind of cool to see how like you weren't allowing them to like push you around, you know, like you were giving them some resistance and like really kind of like questioning why they're doing the things that they were doing.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear, I'm not a Karen
or
anything like that.
No, you were being reasonable.
I'm just trying to work.
Yes.
I was talking with Mason about this on the last episode. It's about just kind of trying to figure out what their goal is, right? And that's the whole sales process. It's all communication, and that's what it was. I just want to know, okay, well, obviously you have a business where you want people to attend.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, I'm here. I have no problem to attend. However, you're saying it's full. Okay, so I'm not going to leave it just up to you. Let me try to contribute to this brainstorming session.
Yeah.
If I stick around and nobody shows up, can I fill in that spot? And the answer was no, which was interesting to me. So.
But the thing is, too, is like you got to understand that, like, what you're saying makes sense. But for someone who's just employed, that's just getting paid on an hourly basis, they couldn't care less. You know, whether it was like a good impression with you and whatnot, they couldn't care less because it didn't matter to them. Yeah. Whereas if you were probably talking to the business owner who owned that facility, then they might have said yes, right? They might have worked something out because then in their mind, okay, my reputation is on the line. And at the same time, I want to build a good relationship with this person moving forward and whatnot. So it would have been really different. So I guess the mindset would definitely be different. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're definitely right.
Because that guy probably most likely doesn't give a shit about the business the same way the business owner would care.
No, man. Right? I mean, obviously, he was a nice guy, but I just saw, and I think you saw it was a little bit obvious too. He didn't like push too hard to kind of make something work. I mean, there was no other thought. It was, we're full, you can't come. Yeah. And then I was kind of the one trying to brainstorm solutions. He wasn't really trying to participate in the storming session.
No, and you're right. And I just don't think that a lot of people get the proper training when it comes to situations like that, right? People are just, and like a lot of people lack that skill. We're like, okay, well, we're trying to figure something out here, but you know what? I don't feel like it, so it's an automatic no. You know, they're not trying to really come to a conclusion.
But anyways, I mean, I met you there. That was the first time.
Yeah.
And at least we were kind of able to see, because if we met right off, I think it was actually probably better to meet that way, because if I met you and then we kind of did the class together, of course we're bonding right away. However, we met and we were faced with an issue right away. Yeah. So we could kind of
and then we ended up
judge of character, I guess.
We tried it again. And then it was just me and you. Rock climbing. Me, you, and Mason. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And after that, we had many. Couple of more adventures after that.
And it's pretty sick now that like I would consider you in my close circle especially in business. You know, I
appreciate that.
And you know, because a lot of people have a lot of things to say, but they don't really back it up, or sometimes people just have a lot a lot of things to say, but like don't really know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of people would just say things just to say things, but when you question them on the things that they're saying, they really have there's nothing. It's empty. It's an empty vessel.
No, I noticed that. A lot of people, they have really strong opinions about things that they haven't actually thought through at all. Mm-hmm. You know, it just seems like the right thing. It's based off feeling, but they don't challenge themselves on a deeper level. Like there's a lot of things that you could do that theoretically sound correct, but then when you run it in a real world situation, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I realize is a lot of people will just run with the headline that they would see. Yeah. Right? A lot of people like, oh, this person is this because of that. But then like when you ask them deeper questions, they can't really back it up with anything. Yeah. Right? Like they have such a strong opinion, but then if you question that opinion, there's like, it's empty. Yeah. There's nothing. And you'll just notice that they're very resistant, or they're not even willing to have a conversation just because they know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. You see that a lot on the political spectrum. I don't know. You know, maybe we shouldn't get on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about politics, bro. So, I mean, I probably should, but I mean, I try to stay away from that.
Yeah. Okay.
Whenever I hear stuff about politics, bro, I just get a headache, bro. It just makes me realize on how fucked up this world is.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to argue with you on that. There's things that could be improved for sure.
Yeah. But hey, anyway, like I know Mason had you on our podcast a while ago. How are things been?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty consistent into what I'm doing. You know, last time we were talking about, what's your perspective on AI?
Oh yeah. AI. Yeah, man.
We
that's
with that, but
see, the thing about AI is like, I'm not educated enough to really put out my opinion out there, but it is exciting to me. So for me, the thing whenever I have a conversation with artificial intelligence, it's not about things like, oh, I know this is gonna happen. It's more about like, oh, this could happen. Because with AI, it's basically like there's no boundaries right now with AI.
It's hard to put a limit.
Exactly. There's no limit, so it's not like, oh, you can't do that. So I can't disagree with some people's ideas. You know, so and I like to play with that idea. You know, just it's a fun conversation to have. But I mean, AI right now, it's a pretty interesting place to be in. Definitely AI is at the early stage, and I just couldn't even imagine
Which is far. It's far for an early stage. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, how many things have been launched? Like GPT, I think was
less than a year,
6 months, 5 months ago, like the beginning of 2023. I mean, they've been working on it forever, but
Were they the first platform to reach like 1 million user? Like the fastest?
Yeah, they're the fastest growing
platform
ever.
Yeah.
And by far. By far. Yeah.
Because I think that ChatGPT and what's really cool about ChatGPT in comparison to other like social media platform or whatnot, it's a lot easier, right? You're just literally typing in stuff and then you're just getting an output. You give in an input and you get an output. It's not like social media where like you have to figure out a lot of things and whatnot. Like you have to have previous knowledge. You're literally just having a conversation with
it's like Google search, except that you're talking to, it's like if Google was a person who was teaching you. You know what I mean? If someone was to explain it to you, like how do I do this, Google would just kind of give you a bunch of things.
So do you like AI?
You know, so
where do you fall in the scale? Are you for it or are you against it?
I think that it's irrelevant. I think it exists, and I think that whether you're for it or against it, I mean, if you're against it, the fact that the technology itself exists means that people are capable to produce it, and I think that if you're trying to run from it, it's not possible to run from it.
Absolutely. Now, here's the thing for me about like with AI. So with AI and whatnot, so like it wouldn't be the idea. I don't know if this will happen. Like I said, I don't know anything about. I'm not that educated in AI, but like I don't think this is so far off. But like I could see a future where like 20, 30 years from now, all of the teacher would be replaced with just a robot. Everybody would just go do their schooling at home in front of their computer, and it would be much more efficient, right? Now the issue that would come along with AI and all that stuff is now you're removing the social aspect of life, right? So for example, people now are relying on AI, so the team building, teamwork doesn't really exist all that much anymore, right? So that is what I would see would be an issue in terms of like how people would interact, because now you see it now. People are just not as social as they could be or should be, because everybody's hiding behind a wall. Everybody's hiding behind a screen. So how would you feel if down the future your kids were being taught by an AI?
I wouldn't really have a problem with it, because I'm sure it could explain concepts better than a lot of teachers could. You know what I think is going to happen? I think that, and I'm curious to see what your take is on this, because my theory is that pre-Great Depression, I believe it was like 80% of people were small business owners.
Okay.
And then you went through the wars, and then you had a massive recession, and so on and so forth. And a lot of these small businesses got destroyed. And that whole generation pushed the concept of, you know, go to school so you could get employed and have a secure job. Now I think we are a little bit overstretching that. I think we have a lot of people who are, you know, qualified, educated, and not enough people who are entrepreneurial and creating. Now I think there's a shift now. But I think with the introduction of AI, I don't think people have to go to a formal institute as much as they did in the past. Like, I mean, I don't really understand the argument other than networking. I mean, if you were to go to a university, it would be to network, because what could you learn at that university that you could not just ask AI to explain to you concisely?
So AI right now, it seems to me, would only be really beneficial in the work industry, business.
What do you mean?
Like could you use AI to, for personal use? Absolutely. Like in what ways?
Absolutely. You know, one thing I'm a big advocate on is I'm a big advocate of character development and personal development. Okay. And I think there's some questions that you might feel like, hey, Kat, so I have this theory. I'm a big believer on this, where I think you need to know, I'm trying to figure out how to word it without getting super philosophical, but essentially what it is the ideal life you want and the ideal you, how does this person act? What do they do? And I think you should frame things in your life from that perspective. Because then any suffering you endure to get up to that point you would know would be worthwhile. For example, if you were to go to a gym, you don't just go to a gym. You know the physique that you're aiming for to go to the gym. Okay. So then you know that if you want that physique, there's certain dietary restrictions or implementations that you would have to put in place. You know that there's exercises, and you know anything outside of that doesn't align with that vision for the physique you want. Okay. Now, stretch out on a greater scheme. What's the life you want? You know, what friendship circles do you want? What career do you want to be doing? What are your interests? What are your hobbies? What are your values? How do you interact with people? How do you want to interact with people in negative situations, positive situations? And when you think of things in that situation, like, okay, how do I ideally want to address this situation? I think it shapes a lot of, I think anything you do from that perspective would be better. And I think AI can aid with that, because there's things that you might not fully understand. However, if you type into an AI, maybe it could explain it to you a little bit more concisely, and you could brainstorm with the AI for personal development. So I don't know if I rambled on. I don't know if that was a lot of nothing, but
no, I definitely do get what you're saying. But then like with that in mind, then like, wouldn't you say that everybody's experience would be curated the same way? Because like with AI, like how, like the biggest thing about AI is that there's no emotion, right? So like in talking about character development, a lot of the times people develop as a character when they go through hardship, right? Yes. And when they go through suffering and all that stuff. But if you're relying on AI on how to always make calculated moves so that you don't endure those suffering, or so that you would be the person that you want to be, then wouldn't you say that those people would also just lack on human experience? And then also on top of that, everything that AI knows is basically just things that humans have implemented, right? It's basically just data or information that humans have implemented. So it gets to a point where like, what if everybody is now just relying on AI to download or upload data, that to a point where nobody is even going out there to get new experiences. And so everybody's experience is going to be the same, because the experiences that we experience now is much different than the experience people have experienced 100 years ago. Right? So, but if everybody's just curated through that same experience, and everybody relies on that and depends on that, then would you say that it's just taken away from life itself?
Not necessarily, because then you could make the argument that everything you know and I know is also from other things that other people have taught us. Like all the information you know is from what? From an alien? It's just books that other people have written. Somebody taught you something. So AI's information is based off information that we've already put into the internet.
Exactly.
And all your information and my information is just other information that somebody else has told you.
Exactly. And that's where I was going back to, is that like new
personal experiences.
Exactly. Exactly. So like we find new, we discover new things through research, right? So what if it gets to a point where everybody's just so dependent on AI that people are no longer going out there and discovering new things, doing new studies, right? Because the way we learn is by doing research, right? Whether that's someone doing an experiment or whether that's someone going out there and just looking for fossils or whatever that may be, right? Just so that we get new information. But what if that completely just stops because everybody just relies on AI? So then wouldn't you say that the information that we have now would be the peak of it? Wouldn't you say that we'd be stagnant in terms of new information's coming in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if nobody goes out there anymore and just like, you know what, I want to explore Mount Everest?
I don't think that would happen, because I think the fact that you're asking the question to begin with means that you wouldn't. It's not something you would likely do. You wouldn't likely just rely on AI 100%. And I'm in the same boat. I wouldn't rely on AI 100%. I would, this might be a bad example, but when 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine, right?
Yeah.
The reason why he blew up is because there was an era of very soft music. Drake was releasing a lot of soft music. Kanye was releasing a lot of soft. So a lot of the mainstream music was, kind of softer in its way of being. And then you had somebody in the polar opposite.
Disrupted that.
Exactly. So whenever you have people, nobody went to school, right? When everybody was self-employed and had small businesses, and then everybody said, okay, go to school because you're going to get a good job and that's going to set you up. And now everybody's in school, and how many people do you say, I don't want to go to school? There's dropouts. I want to do it on my own. Yeah. So there's always going to be both sides. So I think there's going to be people who are maybe super reliant on AI, but I don't think everybody. I think there's going to be enough people who see an opportunity to live life. Like my example that I was using for AI aiding in your personal development is, for example, what values are important to you? What values and morals do you want to follow? What rules for your life put you on a good path? What principles could you follow that put you on a path that you can feel proud of? Okay. That would be a good question to explore, I think. Would you disagree with that?
I would disagree with that in the sense that you would have to figure that out, right? Because like you wouldn't just, as a child, you wouldn't just, okay, what path do I need to follow? That would come through experience and discovering different things, right? When you go through ups and downs in life and you're like, you know what? I don't know if I really like that. Okay. And then like you kind of find, it's cliche to say, but like you go and you do your searching of like the meaning of life, right? You can't just go and try to develop yourself as the best person you can be by just asking AI something, because everybody's experience is different, right? Like you might want to experience different things than I do, right? But if we ask AI is probably going to output the exact same information.
Yes, but there's general experiences that there's general principles that you would follow that would lead you to a better life. Would you agree? Look at religions, right? There's 10 commandments in Christianity.
Yes.
Islam has commandments and Judaism and so on and so forth, even Stoicism. There's principles that you follow that, according to the philosophy, the theory, if you follow this, it'll lead you to the promised land, a better life, right? So I think part of personal development is anybody can look at their own life, and in creating a life that you're proud about, it means setting boundaries and rules for yourself that you have to follow. Happiness doesn't come from being able to do anything you want. It comes from being able to do anything you want within the parameters that you have set. Right? Like, just because I can kill doesn't mean I should kill.
Yeah.
Unless, you know, there's certain metrics that you can, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're creating these principles to live by, for example, or beliefs or values to follow, I mean, could you list 100 values off the top of your head? I can't.
No.
But AI could. So if you ask AI to list you 100 values and a description, it can write down 100 values, and you can look through that and say, you know what? Courage is important. Persistence is important. I could agree with that.
Yeah.
Kindness, I think, is a little bit general.
But no, I definitely do agree with you on that. I guess for me is like, how do you need to go through a discovery phase in your life to even understand what courage is, how to be kind, right? Like, if AI just prompted you 10 values and you don't even know what they meant, like, how are you going to go and practice kindness? How are you going to go practice being courageous?
No, absolutely.
Right? And so you have to go through life to discover those feelings and whatnot. So, I mean, yes, definitely it gives you a good foundation, especially if you just don't know where you are and you just need a little bump. Now, I definitely do agree with you on that, but it would definitely be a dangerous life if everybody just relied on that, though.
How
right?
So?
Because then if everybody relied on that, then everybody would be robotic. Everybody would have similar experiences or feel like they need to do certain things just because of what AI prompted them to do, right? So you could it'll be like the educational system, how like the educational system has one way of doing things, and if you either don't do it that way, then you're wrong, right? So then that could be an issue, in my opinion.
Well, I would push against that. And the reason why I push against that is because there's a lot of people who practice Islam or Christianity, and the principles that you follow are the same for every person. Okay. However, not every person is the same. So you're not asking AI how if you ask AI, okay, I'm facing this trouble in my life, what should I do about it? If you're asking AI to give you the solution, I think 100% it's going to give you the very similar results. It's going to spit it out. However, if you look at a situation, say I'm in this situation, I don't like this situation, okay? But what would I want the outcome to be? And you have a clear outlook on what the vision is for yourself. Okay. You can use AI to assist you with the brainstorming process. For example, if I want if I value keeping my composure and not being extremely volatile emotionally, that might be something I value more than you value. So I would have certain principles that I would follow that I could be proud of when I follow those, because I know that by following these principles, I keep my composure and I'm not sporadic. Now, you in your personality may have different principles that you choose to follow, but you're still an individual. I'm still an individual. It's just that there's certain principles that we follow, and AI can assist in the brainstorming process.
I guess I was just looking at AI on how it is right now, on how limited it is right now in some case. I guess down the road, like, AI could be so advanced where it could literally be like you can upload your experiences today and it'll just curate prompts based on like how you experience your life today. You know, which probably is gonna happen. But
well, I'll give you an example. I was talking to my
brother. Okay.
I'll give you an example. I was talking to my brother, and I'm pretty content with my life. I'm pretty content. I'm pretty proud of my demeanor in most situations and so on and so forth. I think I carry myself in a way that I could be proud of. Now, my brother, he has an issue with that, because if he gets insulted, it really bugs him, because he doesn't like confrontation, and he doesn't want to get into an argument, but he doesn't know how to set a boundary for himself. So for him, his thought process was, okay, if somebody insults me, I'm going to be quiet, go home and think about it, and then after address it later. And I was telling him, don't do that. address it on the spot. But you don't have to be rude with it. It might just be a way that you perceived it. For example, if somebody says, David, I don't like your shirt. You don't have to get offended right off the bat. You can just ask, what do you mean? And allow them to elaborate, because why?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't like my shirt. Why? Because you don't like shirts? Okay, and if that's the reason, then you could choose whether or not to be offended by that, because it's more on them than it is of you. But if somebody says, well, I don't like your shirt, and then you get hot right away, okay, you might not be super proud. So I agree with what you're saying, that there's certain life experiences that shape you. You have to go through those life experiences, yes. However, in those moments, you have to ask yourself, how do you want to behave in these situations? Like, if somebody insults you, do you want to be the person to just punch them in the face? Do you want to be the person who's very composed? Do you want to be a person who's controlled by their emotions, or the person who controls their emotions? So you can look to see what the optimal, I guess, way to handle the situation is. And in that brainstorming session, you can work with AI to figure out rules that you could follow, or ways to handle. Like for me, I handle all my situations by asking questions. I mean, if somebody says, oh, Sam, I hate your face, I'll just say, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah, let them elaborate.
Let them elaborate.
Yeah, because sometimes people just say a lot of things that means nothing.
Yeah.
You know? You just want to say things to say something.
Yeah, and if they say, listen, I hate your face because, and they give me a valid reason, oh, man, your face, I don't like it because you got acne. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So what do you suggest I do about it? Yeah. Because I got it. I wash my face more, but what do you suggest? But if they say, I don't like your face because I don't like your face, you look like you got a punchable face. Okay. Well, then I could choose whether I should be mad at that or not, right? Yeah. You could choose how to handle that situation. You allow yourself to save face and be proud about the way that you handled yourself and the way that you conduct yourself, I think is important. Professionalism is something that's important to me. Absolutely. Which is just being appropriate to different situations.
Yeah, and I guess that's how AI would be able to come in handy, because then it would be able to calculate everything much quickly. No emotion. Yeah, it has no emotions, and it can just calculate it right there and then. Yeah. Whereas with human experience, it takes some time. Yeah, exactly. It'll take time, but nonetheless, I mean, yeah, this whole AI conversation is pretty interesting to me. Yeah. Like I said, I probably sound so stupid, no, man. But you're doing great. I mean, it's very interesting. I'm definitely not against it. I have used ChatGPT. I mean, like, why wouldn't I? Like it's a tool that I can use, and like, as long as you're using it in a way where it's not taken away from your life experience, or you're just not relying on it 100%. You know what I mean? To a point where like that just becomes your saving grace for everything. Yeah. Then that becomes a problem.
Yeah. Like if that's your brain. Yeah. Like whenever you have a question, you don't think about anything. You just kind of how should I handle this situation?
Yeah. You don't even think about it. Yeah, like I think AI would be great if like you first use your own brain, and then if you want to expand on it and get different perspective, then you can use AI, right? Or you can use AI and then you can edit what it's prompting.
Well, that's the drawback of AI, right? It doesn't have critical thinking. So if you just rely on AI for critical thinking, it's the biggest drawback, because it's like if I give you 1 billion books, that's what AI is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do with that information? Well, you have to think about what to do with that information. You can't just ask the books, what should I do?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. And that's the biggest thing about AI right now, especially with ChatGPT, is that it's not so much about the limitation of the program. It's about the limitation of people knowing how to ask the right questions. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. I mean, yeah, like we're somewhat similar in the business niche, in the marketing. And I'm sure like now people are going to be just using AI, copywriting. It's going to be implemented in everybody's business. Even like for us, man, like AI is just doing editing now, bro. Yeah. I mean, editing. And like, what's so crazy to me is that like, I'm sure you actually sent us the video on Instagram where the program, I think Adobe Premiere, is just literally automating edits for a podcast. Yeah. And Mason sent me that video, and I said, yo, you know what, man? I'm down to try this, because if it can optimize my time, why not? You know what I mean?
That's the argument though. That's the whole thing. It's like, everybody's using it, so how do you not use it? Because if you don't use it, you're immediately way behind.
Losing. Exactly. Bro, it's literally just like, instead of like Googling it, just going to a textbook and looking for the exact page, looking for the exact thing that you're looking for. Like, you're at a disadvantage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have to use it now. So that's why when you said, well, are you for it or against it? It doesn't matter. It's there. It's in use already. So you have to kind of just, it's like, I mean, you do Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Right? I do boxing. So it's like striking. If somebody hits you, just roll with the punches. You can't just say, are you for getting hit or against getting hit?
Yeah.
If I have the chance of getting hit, just roll with it. You know what I mean? If it's already out there, then just do your best to not be in the path of getting just ran over. Right?
Yeah.
Don't get hit by it. Don't get caught off guard. Acknowledge it and adapt.
Absolutely. And like nowadays, like if you really, especially us, like we're into business, like if you really want to be able to be successful in this day and age, you really got to be able to adopt and adapt quick. You know, you got to be able to adopt the new technology and adapt to it very quickly. Because even for me, bro, like I'm adopting it nicely, gracefully, but I'm not adapting it to it quickly, just because on how things are moving. Yeah. On like the speed of things, bro. Like there are like things that like even my iPhone, there are like features that I even know existed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever thought about how fast things are evolving? Have you ever thought about that?
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
Because like because think about it this way. Okay. When did the internet kind of start? Like 2000, 2001?
Let's just say
right?
2000. Yeah.
From 2000, let's say 2001. From 2001 to 2013.
Okay.
The progress of the internet was pretty big, right? But like that's in a span of what, 12 years.
Yeah.
But from 2013 to 2014, the progress was a big jump.
Absolutely.
And then it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy. I mean, I can't really wrap my head around it. I'm not like a tech geek and whatnot, but it's just crazy on how back then, bro, like if you wanted storage for like for data, like if you wanted like a disk, this was going to give you 500 megabytes. You remember those disks?
Yeah.
That would give you 500 megabytes.
Yeah.
Now you can store data into thin air.
Do you remember?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you have a PS2?
No.
Okay, so I had a PS2 or PS1 or something like that. But I remember you used to have to put a memory card in it to play a game.
Yeah.
Right? And that memory card was like that big and it held like, I don't know, 4 gigabytes or something like that.
That's crazy.
Now, 4 gigabytes get you like nothing.
You can't even download a game.
Exactly. And I was talking to a friend about it because when you look at how fast things are evolving the landscape, it's
crazy.
Blows my mind.
It's crazy.
Okay. Your great-grandfather, okay, could give advice to his son, and that advice would still be relevant during his son's day because pre-internet, things didn't evolve as fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you were to have advice in 2000, that advice today, only 23 years later, could be almost irrelevant. You know, like if somebody said, okay, you got to get into this. This industry is the thing that does it, or this is how you should handle this situation, or whatever, some sort of advice. The advice at that era is completely different. We're in a completely different era.
Yeah, it's because it's because of the speed in which information is being transmitted.
Yeah.
Right? It's just being passed on.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, like I mean, for example, if they discover a whole new thing in a specific village, let's say in the Philippines, they discover like some cool animal that was never discovered before back in the day. Like it would probably take months before it would get here to Canada.
Like now, the word of it.
Yeah, the word of it.
Yeah.
Or the idea of it, you know? But now, instantly.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, really instantly. I mean, somebody just live stream it and there you go, it's done.
You can see it together. You can experience it together. You're right.
So it's like that's the thing. Like we entered an era of like, you know, I think about this biblically sometimes. I don't know how religious you are, but I think about this biblically sometimes. I look at, I was reading Genesis and it was talking about how Eve ate the apple.
Okay.
Got all the knowledge. Adam ate the apple. Whatever, they were banished. But there was 2 trees in the garden: the tree of life and the tree of knowledge.
Okay.
And God said, "Do not eat anything, but if you eat the tree of knowledge, you will surely die." Okay, that was the warning. we've entered an era where knowledge, like we have knowledge like never before. I mean, even with the introduction of artificial knowledge, AI, you have access to so much information that people are literally paralyzed by the amount of information that they receive. So, you know, I don't know where we're going. I'm optimistic as usual, but I also understand the power that comes with endless information that everybody has access to. Even where the information can learn information.
I mean, it just puts everyone on an equal playing field at the end of the day, which is...
But is that even possible, though? Because that's the thing. Like, you know, you play Monopoly.
I guess it just depends on how you want to go about it. But right? Like, you and I could have the exact same information. Like Mason could text us right now, there's a lion outside. You know, like, we both now know that there's a lion outside. But depending on what we do would also play a factor on the outcome. If I walked out there, I'd die. But if you stayed here, you would survive.
Yes, but now the game is just much bigger. Now the game is the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what the internet does. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like a game of Monopoly. We all start with $1,000, and then eventually somebody has all the money, somebody goes bankrupt, and then there's only one at the top, right?
Yeah.
So everybody starts off equal. However, you stretch that game over 8 billion people, and now the people who have access, like, I mean, Google, I think, is going to turn into like maybe one of the biggest monopolies ever.
They already are.
I know, but how do you even compete then at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, you really can't.
It's like the biggest kingdom.
They'll just buy out everybody. That's what they're doing.
There's nothing that you could do.
There's really nothing. I mean,
I can't think of anything. I mean, if you think of something, please.
I mean, every single time they see a competitor or like an issue that they think would be a problem in the future, they'll just buy them out.
Yeah.
Just buy them out, adapt to whatever they have, or just diminish them. But I know we're talking so much in the future or whatnot, but I actually have a question for you. I mean, I got...
Good talk.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, but I met you and you were already doing your thing, right?
Yes.
And so I just wanted to... I've never asked you this question, but what got you started and why did you start? Like dabbling into the business development and like the mental psychology of selling. I know that's what you're into. So I just want to know like how that came about.
Yeah, I mean, it's always just childhood experiences and stuff like that. But when I was young, I really wanted to know. There was 2 things that were my biggest interest. This was about 5 years old. I wanted to know why people do what they do.
Okay.
And essentially how to make money. Right? I was facing a little bit of a situation at that time, and I just wanted to know if I can make money, it fixes all the problems, and I need to know why people are doing what they're doing so I can understand it. I just didn't want to feel like on a cliffhanger, like I was helpless. Okay. So that spiraled my interest into human psychology and so on and so forth. And it really...
So at an early age, you already had this mindset where you were... Wow. That's impressive.
At about 4 and a half, 5.
Wow. That's very impressive. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. And... I mean, the question was, how did I develop that mindset, or?
No, it was not how you develop your mindset, but I was just why you started the business.
Personal experience. Okay,
so what year was it where you looked and like, you know what, I'm gonna turn this into a business? Because I'm actually just curious, you know.
So a business to me is just something that people are willing to pay for. That's all it is, right? So I mean, people resell shoes and that's a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So people are just willing to do people buy things to solve an issue, right? People buy things because they want to be better off after they buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than before. Like I was talking about this the other day. People twist what money is so much. They don't even have an idea of what money is. All money is a tool to exchange value easier. That's all money is. I think we talked about this maybe at some point a while ago. Right? Before money, if you were a baker and I was a barber and I wanted a loaf of bread, you know, do I have to give you one haircut? If I give you one haircut, am I now overpaying for the bread? You know, if I have a horse and you're a baker, how many pieces of bread do you have to give me for a horse? A lot, right? So money just allows you to exchange things without having a massive... It just allows exchange of value to be easier. So I knew with that information that if it contributes to solving a problem, then it's likely that people are going to pay for it, and then you could just start a business around that. And I knew that a lot of people, I was saying this to Mason at the last podcast, a lot of people go into business because they're really good at what they do. They love what they do. They never think about scalability. They never think about adapting with times and kind of all that and how to get their name out. So I just wanted to help them with that. I thought there would be a market in there, and there is, right?
And I know, like, so did you start because I know, like, you used to sell cars.
Yes, I did.
So was that something that you did after, or were you already doing this business development before, or like during your time in the sales industry? Car sales.
I mean, I didn't do it formally. So what happened was I was selling cars.
Yeah.
And I was really bad at selling cars. I was
really
so bad, man. Because you know the tricks that they teach are like never take no for an answer and just keep.
Sometimes, bro, like honestly, the sales tactic that some of these car dealerships use is really like frustrating and annoying.
So bad
because they're so pushy to a point where like they're not even pushing for the sale; they're pushing me away from the store.
100%.
You know, it's like, bro, like, let me look at the car. I don't need to know what kind of speakers they are.
Yeah.
Just let me sit in it first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, that's the thing, right? When they trained me, they were telling me all these tactics, and I did them.
Yeah.
I did them. I understand the bass. There's many things that I did wrong that are so cringy now that I think about it. But, you know, like talking about this stereo system and all that kind of, who cares? Like, I mean, if you don't care, who cares?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about it? I
mean, they're not going in there to know about the stereo system.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I literally don't care that it's the beautiful red and the UV protection. I don't care about any of that stuff, right? That's not why I'm buying the car. But they don't even ask why.
Yeah.
I mean, they might, but they don't take the time to understand what my situation and what is actually why I'm even interested in considering a car. Right? So when I pivoted and figured that out, that it's like, people come into a dealership and salespeople turn them off so bad, they're willing to just not buy the car there. I mean, they could go in wanting to buy the car and actually choose to not buy the car just because of their experience that they had with a salesperson. So, and that led to internet buying, people making orders online and all that kind of stuff, right? That's a whole thing.
I know people are losing. Car sales people are losing money on that.
Yeah,
because they're making it so much easier, and it's, you know what, and it's also a nice experience for the consumer just because they can cut out all that bullshit.
Well, that's exactly it, right? Like,
I have to sit in there for 6 hours for them just to say that no, they can't give you that price.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, right? So when I went into car sales, I was so bad because I was doing all the pressure tactics and all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then I kind of approached it from the perspective of, okay, why are they even here to begin with? Right? And then you approach it from that goal of, well, they're here at a dealership sometimes just to look at the cars, but, they're here for a reason, right? So you engage them in a conversation, you go about that. Then when you engage them in that conversation, you understand how to build value. You understand what's important to them. And that's all that building value is. It's subjective, right?
Yeah.
So I got really good. I ended up doing well. And then I thought to myself, okay, so I went from really bad to decent. And then I thought, well, I could probably teach this to others. So then that's why I got into sales training. Initially, Selly was a corporate sales training company. Okay. So initially, the idea was to help salespeople sell better, so that the business becomes more profitable. It becomes more profitable. Number one, increase their sales, revenue, so on and so forth. But also the reputation, the brand image, isn't compromised, because to me, that is extremely embarrassing that a customer would come into your dealership and be met with a person who, I mean, how would you describe a salesperson? Annoying, arrogant, rude. right? Nothing positive.
In my personal bubble too much.
Yeah. There's not a positive thing you could say about them. So to me, that's embarrassing. Would I bring this person at my dinner table? No. Would I have a conversation with this person? I don't. So,
but that's also like a persona that they just turn on too. I'm sure they're not like that
because they think it's right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the worst part is like they think they're doing something good. Like, bro, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind. Just talk to me. Don't try to like.
Just take interest in me, man.
Exactly.
Just be interested in why I'm here. Like, I'm here for a reason. I'm looking at a car. Don't come at me all whatever weird and stuff like that. Yeah. If you treat me like a regular person.
Yeah. Okay, well, the first thing that they do is look at the car that you're bringing in. They look at the car that you're driving in with.
And they offer you $200 for
and then they look at you, and then they make a judgment and whatnot. But it's an interesting industry. But I don't mean to put you on.
No.
I don't mean to put you on. Under pressure right now.
Sure.
But what's the best sales tactic that you've used in the car industry? Or like what are kind of sale, like give me an exclusive.
Okay.
Like what kind of?
So I'll tell you this. I'll tell you my thought process. Okay. A car is a product. Okay. It's not a service. It's a product.
Yeah.
Which means you're not there for me. You're there for the car.
Yeah.
Right. And you've probably done your research online. I would assume that you've done your research online, and you're coming into my dealership with that information armed. You're armed with that information. You know probably more than I do about it, and that's it. So my whole approach is to brainstorm with you whether or not this is a good decision. Because you think it's a good decision. That's why you came in.
Yeah.
You're interested, and now you want to kind of see it in real life and kind of explore it further.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you all the reasons why you should buy it, because if I tell you, hey, listen, you're going to love this car. It's so good on gas, has great speakers. It's like, oh, dude, man. Can I cuss?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay, I'll say I like cuss. If I say, shut up. You know what I mean? Like if somebody's like, oh, man, the speakers are great, whatever, this is why you're going to love it. All you're thinking to yourself is, man, shut up, dude. Like, you're talking so much.
Yeah.
But when I take interest in why they're interested in that car and what is it they're actually going for, I can make alternative suggestions. Like, hey, listen, you can go new, but have you thought about just going used? You know what I mean? If you're gonna buy it in cash, and I got you a 1 year and it already depreciated a little bit and it has a couple, would you consider something like that? No, I wouldn't. Okay, why is that? Because I just have a rule. I don't want anything that's pre-owned and all that kind of stuff. Okay, fair enough. So right there, I've already protected myself and allowed them to save face. Okay. And the way that I did that, it was when we get down to the negotiation, if they say, well, it's too expensive, I could always teeter back to the used car and say, well, look, this is what the price of the car is. However, we can go with this one. And it only has 15,000 kilometers on it. But you have to ask yourself, is the 15,000 kilometers worth,
X amount.
Yeah, 10,000, whatever.
So
it might
be. When we were doing our sales training together, you were really talking about really talking to the decision maker, right? Yes. Really trying to talk to them. And so how would you deal with a situation, for example, if I walked into the dealership and I was really excited, let's say I wanted to see the new Genesis G80 coupe that's coming out in 2024. Okay. Let's say it's out in the showroom. I really want it. And I've already mentally committed that I want it. Okay. I'm excited. I want to see it. Okay. And I come tell you, hey, listen, I really want this car, but my girlfriend is coming and she's unsure about it. And she's just like on the opposite end of it. Like, you don't need this car. You can just get a normal RAV4, blah, 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 blah. Like, how would you sort of position it in a way where like she would be on my side?
Okay.
Because I'm sure you see that far often where there's just like two opposite opposing ideas.
I do. So it varies from situation to situation, but it's the same approach. I want to take interest into the situation. I already know you love the car, right? So I might push against you and retaliate and kind of right, why do you love it so much? Essentially, I want to know. I want to reaffirm all those reasons that you love it. Number one. Number two, I also kind of want to probe and figure out why she hates the idea so much. Because if it's a financial thing, okay, and you really love that model, I can play with the product. We can move around the trim. So if I was able to get you in the same car, minus this feature for this, and if it works for her, it works for you, it might make sense. However, if it's just maybe she hates the look of it, like, I want to take interest as to why she's so against the idea. But
so you also play with the idea that she doesn't like it. Like, you show interest.
Yeah, okay. Because I mean, look, if I go,
you don't just disregard the fact that she doesn't.
Well, she's the decision maker.
Okay, yeah, at that point, yeah, she would.
She's the decision maker. Right?
If I can't, yeah.
Yeah, so it makes no sense for you to come into the dealership and then me to say, she's mad the whole way through.
Yeah,
and I'm over here saying, oh, look at this car, look how great it is, look at the speaker system.
Yeah,
look at the windows.
Yeah, she'll just hate you.
Well, she's just, because what's going to happen when you leave?
Yeah.
When you leave, she's going to tell you all the reasons why no. It's going to undo everything I did.
Okay.
So I want to address all the problems there.
Okay.
I mean, if the bomb is going to blow, I want it to blow up in my face. I want to be able to handle what the bomb is. I don't want to talk all about how great it is and then you go home and then that's it,
Yeah.
And I keep trying to get you back into the dealership. So, the first step to selling is to take interest in everything. And what you're taking interest in is you're taking interest as to what their goal is. How does this make sense for you?
Okay.
And then everything comes off that, right? Every question that you would ask kind of rolls off that.
So I guess the key component with that is just asking questions. Show interest and ask questions and yeah. Okay.
I mean, every person you talk to, it's not... You know how annoying it is when you talk to a person? I'm sure you know. And they just talk forever. You know what I mean? Is this a one-way conversation? So it's the same thing in selling. Okay. It's a conversation. Sales is just communication.
Yeah. I guess, that's true too. And like with selling, I mean, I've also had experience with selling, but it's also about being confident, right? Being confident with what you're saying and not making it feel like they're making the wrong decision based off of like your energy. Yeah. Right? Because if you can't comfortably communicate what it is that you're selling or like how to communicate with their emotion, it just makes them feel really unsure.
Well, that's exactly it. And even with communicating your confidence, if you really don't like what you're selling, it's hard to do that confidently because you feel like you're scamming, right?
That's true.
So if you always approach it from the perspective of, I'm interested in their well-being, I'm interested in how they win, then it's hard to go wrong in that. Because you're first sold within your heart, genuinely. You're not trying to just jam them. You're trying to actually help them. And if your solution works, that's it. Like for me,
and you become more resilient too. Whatever what they say, right? Like if they say something negative about it, if you're truly passionate about what you're selling, you have something to say about it.
Well, look,
counter it.
Look, if I want to sell you a car and that's it. Yeah. And I'm not interested in you and we get down to the negotiation, you have all the leverage because you have the money. Right? Yeah. But if I'm actually invested in you making this investment or this purchase a worthwhile purchase, the negotiation is so much easier because I would have already explained other options. We would have already looked at other alternatives. Like, like for me, in my line of work in the consultation space, right? I'm not trying to convince you that you should work with me. All we're doing is exploring your goal. And in that, we're going to brainstorm other alternatives that could be cheaper. Right?
You're just there to help them solve their issue.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Uncovering
and oftentimes we narrow it down to where they say, okay, you know what? Actually, a digital marketer or a marketer on board with us who's working closely with us, that actually seems like the best approach, especially if this is the way you're going to approach it. Okay, so now that we've narrowed it down, it's the best approach. yes, they could look at the competition. However, I don't know. I give people the benefit of the doubt. There's a level of integrity, I think. And if we've explored the situation together and you realize you need a marketer on board, or you want a marketer on board that would help you out, then typically about 100% of the time, they would just go with the person who helped them figure that out. Because we have that rapport going. Now, if I've given them everything and they say, okay, you know what? We need a marketer and we're going to go find somebody else. There's not, what do you want me to do about that? There's nothing I could do about that.
Yeah.
Right. And is this even a person I really want to work with? You know what I mean? They're kind of, so work on their best interest. You can't stop people from doing what they want to do. But if you're invested and you're interested in what they want, then you can really control the situation much better. Yeah. So that's what I would say about that.
That's very true. Just because like you don't want to feel like, you don't want them to feel like you're a person that's a problem, you know, like, you know, sometimes when you're trying to help someone out, but then it almost seems like, oh, okay, now I have to consider this person. You have to make them feel like we're in it together and we're going to solve this together. Like we're a team.
Well, that's exactly it. Like for me, I think to myself, like, imagine hiring a marketer and then, you know, a month in or 2 months in, they just bail on you or they do a bad job. Then it's like, that's difficult. Like that's hard on a business. Yeah. So I think to myself, okay, before we even get into the relationship, let's figure out some things first so that everything that could go wrong is already addressed and we know what to do if it goes wrong, how we would pivot, what are the alternatives, and so on and so forth. And then it's a more structured and stable relationship. You wouldn't just date a girl and get married right away. I mean, maybe some people do. Arranged marriage, right? Yeah. But then who does the filtering for you? Your parents. Your parents are the ones that do the filtering for you. They meet with the other family and so on and so forth. They don't just pick a random person and say you get married. So there has to be a filtering of some sort. And that's what I do initially is when I meet somebody, we're having a conversation. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to figure out what you want at that point.
Exactly. Because like with our business too is like sometimes the best thing to do is not to take on every client because not every client will work for you, right? Absolutely. Just because like if your goals don't align or if you genuinely feel like you're not going to be able to help them out, it's not even about the money, you know, like, the money would be great. But at the same time, if you know you can't deliver what they're looking for, then it's just going to be a big problem.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Listen, money's a thing, man. Money comes and goes. You can make more of it whenever you're low. You can make more. It's not, you know, if you really, I don't know. I have a different philosophy about all that stuff, but it's if I'm super cash. So this is my philosophy on that. If I'm in love with money and I'm so attached to it, then the moment I don't have it, my perspective and everything around me shifts. It's like the ground under me shifts. Okay. It's like when you're really invested in selling something. I really need to sell this car. Yeah. Your approach to selling the car is going to be impacted by your mentality.
That's true. Because you'll be a lot more pushy. Yeah. Because you need this money, and then that just turns you into a bad salesperson.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you come from a place of desperation.
Exactly. Instead of abundance, right? So the same perspective. If I act like I'm, you know, if I really so if you really need money, it can be difficult. However, if you don't, I don't know. I think it's like I don't know, man. If you meet a girl and you're like, I mean, not to be explicit, but let's say you haven't got laid in a while, and you're like, I need this, man. I need this, man. I'm so, you know. If you're acting like that, that's gonna come off. And it's gonna turn her off. She's gonna be like, whoa. Desperate. He's weird. And it's the same thing. Like it's like a person who comes to you. I really need this friendship. Okay, man. And it's the same thing with money. A person who's like, I really need the money. It's a little bit of a turnoff, honestly. It's kind of like
too forced.
Yeah, it's like
you know what you want. Like you're not showing any interest in me or like my problems. You're just showing interest on like
it's too self-centered.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what it is. So if you approach it from the perspective of, you know, I really, it's hard to wrap your mind around at first, but like money started coming to me easier. It was easier to negotiate on money and easier to talk about money. When I was just kind of a little bit detached and I just took a step back and it wasn't all about the money first. Because remember, money is a tool to exchange value. Right? So when I looked at the value first,
yeah,
and I thought about how do they win,
yeah,
then it really became easier to talk about because it was never about the money at that point.
yeah. Because sometimes, man, like money just takes you into the wrong path. Like Mason and I were having this discussion on one of our podcasts where like if money was a driving factor for this business, we should have quit like 3 years ago, right when we started, because all at the same time, like if you're just doing it for that monetary gain, then like everything else that you do will hold no value, right? Because then if we're just solely doing it for money, then like on the months where it's dry, like what do you do? Like, do you not keep going? You know what I mean? And it's just like,
I mean, go ahead.
And it also takes you into like a rough path where like you'll just do random stuff to just make that money, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Money is important. You need money.
Absolutely.
Right? Just like you need friendships and relationships with people. You need to be acquainted and connected with the community and so on and so forth. But,
yeah,
you know, if you act like that, that is all a byproduct of something. That's all a result of something. Mm-hmm. So you shouldn't just like throw all your chips, so to speak, on that one thing. It's a byproduct. You have to conduct yourself in a manner that you could feel proud about. Right?
So do you think... Mm-hmm. Everybody can make a lot of money? Do you think everyone's capable of making a lot of money?
Listen,
or is that a skill that you need to have?
Well, I'll give you this example. Mm-hmm. You have no idea how much money I have. I have no idea how much money you have. Mm-hmm. If you were a millionaire, do you think I would notice?
If I was a millionaire?
Right now, you could have $1 million in your account. It wouldn't impact anything.
No.
Everybody on the street could have $1 million. It wouldn't impact anything. Mm-hmm. So do I think everybody can make money? I think everybody can make money. It just depends. Do I think... Yeah.
Because like here's the thing about money is that like money is generally,
some people are inclined to make it easier.
Yes, because like okay, like you said, going back to how
can everybody have friends?
Yes.
Some people are really unlikable.
That's true, but they're still capable of it.
Exactly. So people are capable of making money.
Yes,
people are capable of providing money.
But I guess my question was like do you think everybody's capable of making a lot of money? Because I don't think so.
What's a lot?
A lot is more than what they need, right? And I guess that also plays a factor because what you need
is subjective.
It's subjective, right? based on your lifestyle.
Yeah.
But I guess, okay, for example, do you think it'd be possible for everybody to make $1 million a year?
Okay, so
for me, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I mean, for some people that's a lot more than they need, though. Some people are living on $1 a day, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't $1 million. Okay, do I think everybody could? Okay, so theoretically, yes.
Yes. You think everybody could?
Theoretically, yes. Okay?
Why is that?
Because there's enough money where everybody can have $1 million.
But not the fact that it changes how you get it, though.
However, I think that if everybody were to have $1 million, I think that the value of the $1 million would be less.
No, of course.
And I think that from a practicality standpoint, I don't think everybody can have $1 million. I think so. Theoretically they could. But then just like the game of Monopoly, everybody could have $1 million, but then at some point, okay.
But here's the thing about that, though.
Okay,
actually, no, go. I don't want to cut you off.
Okay. Money and the way that you handle money speaks a lot about your character.
That's true. Okay? Exactly.
I don't want to say something that's very offensive. However, being poor or very broke speaks to some extent about the way that you handle money and your thoughts and your beliefs about money. Okay. So everybody can have $1 million. Let's say you're given $1 million, but now what you do with that can vary because it's one thing to make it, it's another thing to keep it. I mean, there's a lot of people at the top who lose that money in one generation, 2 generations, or even in the same lifespan or lifetime. So it has to do with your financial practices. That is also very important. So to get to the $1 million is one thing. Keeping the $1 million is another thing.
And I think that's where my question kind of stems from, like making. So do you think everybody's capable of making?
Theoretically, yes. But knowing, like realistically, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Not, you know.
Idealistically, it would be nice, but realistically, no.
And realistically, I mean, you know, theoretically, I think everybody could have $1 million at one point. Like, everybody could hold $1 million. But if you stretch out long enough, I think that people are gonna
lose and make some more.
For sure.
But because, like, going back to what you said earlier, is like money is just based off of like exchange of value.
Yes.
Now, I guess what I want to piggyback off of that is, do you think everybody can provide enough value for them to earn $1 million? Or would that be something that derives from like their own personal characteristic?
Okay.
Now, this is just a question.
No, it's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I never thought about it, but it depends on what time frame. I mean, you could work a minimum wage job and save every single penny, live in your parents' house, or go homeless, or whatever you want to do, and you can make $1 million in your lifespan. So it depends on what kind of parameters you're working with. Do I think somebody can make $1 million, and do I think everybody can provide the value that it would take to make $1 million in a year?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's very specialized, and I think that's very difficult. And I think it takes a lot of thought that maybe if everybody dedicated themselves to thinking about that and figuring it out. No, I don't think so, because if everybody was doing that, then, I mean, look, it's just providing value is all it is, right?
Exactly.
So, look, let's say your place is fully booked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have people coming and going all the time. You have jobs that you need to do. Okay. At this point, it might not make sense to hire somebody to clean your place, because you could just do it yourself.
Yeah.
However, if it was so busy that it actually makes sense to bring in somebody and pay for time. You're paid to buy in time.
Yeah.
So that they clean it and it keeps your clientele happy.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's
look at, they're providing value. But right now, they're not providing value.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, they're providing value. So it takes empathy and understanding people's interests and really taking interest in people and looking for opportunities within that. Mm-hmm. And for some people, it's easier. For some people, it's harder.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what.
Because it definitely would take a different type of breed of like personality, or just like as a person, to just be able to provide enough value where you can be making $1 million a year. You know,
it's hard, man.
It is definitely difficult. Very difficult. You
know, some people are told their whole life that they can't be anything. Some people were told that they won't amount to nothing, and some people can thrive with that, and some people will get completely crippled by that. Yeah. So
it just depends on the mindset, right?
It's
just depends on how you tackle life and whatnot. It varies
too much.
Yeah, I guess that was a weird question, but I always have this like this thought where, like, because obviously I come from like entrepreneurial like background, and like just with the mindset, and in my head I'm just like, man, like what would the world look like if everybody was an entrepreneur and if everybody was successful? Do you think we would have a functional society if everybody was successful? I don't think so.
Well, success varies, right? Success varies on the definition.
Exactly, absolutely.
Right? But let's just go financially successful.
Financially successful, right? Okay. Like business-wise.
Okay. So I would say this. If everybody was an entrepreneur, how could you scale your business if you had nobody that would be willing to work
for you?
Yeah, with you. Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
So it can, there's certain, then you know what might be successful, honestly? If everybody was an entrepreneur, there would be a really good opportunity helping them grow. I think my business would absolutely thrive if everybody was trying to grow. Yeah. And because everybody wants to grow, the person who's willing to say, I'm not going to create on my own, I want to support. Yeah. That person would.
That's true.
Probably, I would think, have a level of success. Advantage. Yeah, exactly. Financially.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's just going back to the thing, is just like solving people's problem. That's what business is all about, just solving people's problems.
Yeah, and okay, so it varies. It varies to some degree, because then you might say, well, how does an iPhone solve a problem over a regular phone, or Facebook or something like that? Like, it varies. There are
Well, the phone itself would be a problem solver.
Yes.
Then there's just a variation of that.
Well, there's other motivators other than just solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's other motivators. I mean, yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
You know, there's motivators like. So
actually, yeah. I don't know. I think everything derives from solving a problem. Everything that we have right now solves a problem.
I'll challenge you on that. Okay.
Okay.
How does? Okay. Well, let's start easy. How does social media solve a problem?
It connects people.
Okay, but you could also say it divides people.
Yes, absolutely. But more importantly, it was created to socialize people and connect people, especially with the internet being able to connect people instantly. Because before you used to have to send letters that would take days, months, even, and then.
How does hard drugs solve problems?
Temporarily, it does for people that are using it. It solves it because they're going through some emotional pain that they're going through, and they use that as an outlet or as a tool to forget whatever it is that they're feeling, to numb things.
Absolutely.
Or to accelerate certain things that they want to do, depending on what drug you want to use.
Absolutely. So this is what I would argue.
Okay.
Not all of it is about solving a problem, because not everybody wants to feel good. Okay. You always approach it from the perspective of everybody wants to feel good, but not everybody wants to feel good. Some people, and actually I would argue everybody, just doesn't want to feel bad.
Okay, then I could also argue that the feeling of not wanting to feel good is a problem. And then by you then taking on that,
I would say this. I would say not everybody wants to be successful. People just don't want to fail.
Okay.
Not everybody wants to be really happy all the time. They just don't want to feel really bad.
Okay.
And because of that, when you stretch it out, there are opportunities within that are not necessarily solving a problem that makes you feel good, but solving a problem that prevents you from feeling bad. For example, insurance.
Okay.
What problem does insurance solve? Well, all it does is reassure that if something goes wrong, you get paid. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Depending on the fine print. But not everybody wants to feel good. Everybody just doesn't want to feel bad.
Okay.
We default to a negative perspective is what I've learned.
Okay. Can you give me a product? So is insurance thing?
Insurance would be an example of that. Life insurance.
Life insurance.
You're
but
dead.
That still solves a problem for people because you don't need to get life insurance.
You're dead. What problem does it solve for you? It doesn't solve any problem for you.
It solves the problem for the people that you're leaving behind. Right?
Yeah.
Especially,
but that doesn't help you. However, it makes you feel, good, but it also
it's peace of mind. Though.
It's reassurance.
Yeah, of course.
Right. It's just if I die and I don't have this, the people I love are gonna feel very bad. So to prevent them from feeling bad, I just don't want them to feel bad. So I'm gonna pay life insurance.
That's the exact same thing as when you're alive. You do things so that people don't feel bad, or you do things so that people feel good.
Yes.
Right. So like you made that decision while you were alive. So.
Yes, but not from the perspective of this is super exciting to me. It makes me feel good to pay life insurance. It's from the perspective of I don't want.
True.
It would be bad. It would be bad if my family was.
But then that itself,
forever because of my poor decision making.
But then that itself is a problem, which the insurance is solving.
Yes, but it's not solving to feel good. It's solving. It does as a byproduct make you feel good, but the motivator is not. I want to feel good, so I will buy life insurance. The motivator is I don't want my family to go homeless if I die.
Okay, I guess the whole argument here was the premise of the argument is like every business derives from solving a problem.
Yes, but in its core, not everybody wants to feel good. Some people just don't. Everybody wants to not feel bad. That is the big thing.
Yes.
For example, okay, here's a better example. I'm selling you something. Okay. I'm selling you a car.
Okay.
Let's say. Okay.
Let's see this.
And let me tell you about all the ways that the car is going to help you.
Okay.
Let me tell you how fuel efficient that is. Let me tell you how good the speakers are.
Okay.
Let me show you how the tint is cool and all that kind of stuff. These are all reasons why it should make you feel good. However, these are not motivating factors to get you to buy. Right?
Yeah.
Now, you're in a current situation that might suck, and you just don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
So by exploring, and taking interest as to what your situation is, I can recommend a solution that will make you not feel bad, which in turn makes you feel good. You feel bad. I don't want you to feel bad. Ultimately makes you feel good. However, if I don't take interest in why or where you are currently, and I just tell you a bunch of things that I think will make you feel good, that feel good is not enough to continue. You know, there's an interesting thing. Okay, I use this all the time. Okay. To keep habits consistent.
Okay.
To get started going to the gym, for example, there might be the image in your head of how you would look or how your lifestyle would change if you were extremely fit. Okay. That's enough to get you started.
Correct.
However, it's no longer enough to keep you going, assuming, like, whenever you don't want to go, you don't think to yourself, but I want to be fit so bad. And then you end up going. It doesn't motivate you. However, failure is the thing that motivates you. Like, whenever you don't go to the gym, you don't think about how you're not gonna be in fantastic shape. You just think that you're letting yourself down because you know you should be doing it. So the negative aspect is the motivator. It's the thing that keeps you going. The failure, the outlook of the failure is the gas that keeps you going. However, the outlook of how good it could be is the thing that gets you started typically.
Yeah, so there's a different motivating factor.
Yeah, one is the how positive things could be, but the thing that keeps you going is if you give up, how much of a failure you are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I've been there. Like, I feel that right now, bro. Not going to the gym, like me, like doing the whole martial art thing. It was more like, yeah, man, I want to be a badass. I just want to learn how to fight, defend myself, and all that stuff. And now that I'm just really busy with my business and just trying to get it all started, I just feel like absolute dookie. Just because, like, I'm telling myself, okay, man, I'm not going, but at the same time, I'm trying to convince myself that, like, it's for a greater good. So then I don't feel as bad.
Yeah.
But
That's exactly, So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess, man, I don't know how long we've been chatting, but
it's been a while.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely not going to be the last time you're here, bro. I really hope to have you on again.
I hope not.
I don't know if.
I hope it's not the last time.
No, definitely.
Yeah,
it definitely won't be. It definitely won't be. You know, like, you're someone that we keep tight in our circle, and you're someone that we really vibe out with, and we share the same values and whatnot. And so that's why we love inviting you here, and we appreciate that the energy is reciprocated, you know, and you take time out of your day to come here and join us for a conversation and just hang out.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anybody's interested on connecting with you, where can they find you?
Yeah. Connecting, if you just want to go personal, there's IG.
Okay.
Sam Fulga, SAM.FULGA.
Okay.
Any kind of business inquiries, if you have a business or if you're entrepreneurial and potentially maybe you want to get something started, I have no problem having a talk for free. We can have a conversation, figure out how we would go about what your goal is and how we would go about exploring that. You could reach out to me on social media still, but if you want my website, it's selli.ca, selli.ca, social media, Instagram, sam.fulga, sam.fulg.
Now, are you only local, or can you contact you if they have a business, let's say in BC or Toronto?
I mean, you know, you could contact me anywhere because it's all virtual.
But,
you
know. But you don't just work
with Ottawa only?
With Ottawa only?
No.
Okay.
I work with people in the States, anywhere that speaks English.
Okay.
Yeah, because obviously,
it
would be easier to have an in-depth conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for coming, and thanks for everyone that's tuned in and watching and listening, and hopefully we see you guys soon again.
Absolutely.
Peace.